welcome back to my channel. For this video, my first story has been posted. I'll put the link in the description below for my WordPress blog site. It's just a super simple site so I can post the stories that I write and for y'all to read them. This video is taking me a little bit to get out because it's been a little just nervous of getting my first story out there on my blog and posting it here and talking with y'all about it. This story I wrote maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It's incomplete. It's maybe about, I think on the Word document it said it was about 10 pages mainly. Maybe the first page, 2 pages, I think that's about it, is kind of world building, just trying to tell a backstory. It's different. I really like musical scores of movies. My favorite musical piece is Time by Hans Zimmer. It's from the movie Inception. It's from the last scene of the movie. And if you haven't listened to it right now, pause this video, go listen to it. It's fantastic. But find a pretty quiet place, get some headphones. But there's a remix of Time by the Instrumental Core on YouTube. It's really good. Definitely listen to the original first. I think the original is probably my favorite. There was a piece of art on the video and had a person overlooking a city, and there were bits of neon green, I don't know, fire or something like that just spread out around the city. It looks like kind of a dilapidated city. I just got this idea of, this person is some sort of scout or ranger kind of character, and they're exploring this broken down city. That was the first thought I had, and I wrote this story kind of out of that thought of seeing this piece of art. And the music helped too. I listened to when I listen to different scores and epic music, it helps me write and kind of that flow of thought, especially if there's like a really cool action scene that I'm thinking of. When I saw this city, I tried to think of the problems of why is this city destroyed? Why is it breaking down? What led to that? So I'm trying to create some post-apocalyptic kind of story surrounding this city. And so I had some different ideas floating around in my head, and I thought of mutated animals. Like something happened to all the animals of the earth and made them mutate and go crazy and have sort of like a hyper rabies almost, and not just that, not just an increased aggression, but like just a simple house cat just turning into the size of a tiger. And so if that happened to a house cat, it happened to all these bigger creatures too, like a bear or something like that. So that's where my thought process went for this story at the time. How did these animals mutate this way? And I played around with a couple different ideas. One of them was maybe a meteor came and crashed on the earth, and there was some radioactive thing in it, and animals got into it and spread it to other animals, and there are these pretty much aliens that turned all the wildlife into aliens. And the idea for the story that I landed on is there are all these different labs set up across the world, and different experiments were done on these animals, and then one of these experiments got out, and all these animals started mutating from this and became these things that turned into monsters. And so that's kind of like what I landed on for this story. So how do you fight these mutated animals that are creating havoc across the world? And I came up with the same research that was done to create these mutated animals in these labs was used to splice like genes together and do that for people. And these people were able to have these just increased reflexes and strength from wolf cells, panther cells, and that's just some of the stuff that was going through my head. of to create like a super soldier, not really a soldier, but just this super kind of thing. I wanted to write some cool action scenes with these just amazing kind of over-the-top fight scenes, and that's what I was trying to go for, like the sci-fi feel and aesthetic of creating new cool gadgets to fight these giant monsters, and to be able to do these really over-the-top things of jumping from different buildings and lifting giant stuff, giant pieces of rubble or stuff like that. And that's the kind of story I was trying to write, so I just was trying to throw out whatever I could of what my imagination came up with at the time. So when I was writing this story, I was really into like action kind of movies, and I still am, probably not as much as I was back in college when I was writing this story, but I really liked just the really well choreographed fight scenes. Some of the stuff that I think of is the movie The Raid Redemption, or some of the actors of like Jet Li or Donnie Yen. Just these really cool, very well done fight scenes where these actors are doing most of the work themselves, and that they are very skilled doing these different fight scenes. And I was very kind of inspired to do some sort of over-the-top scene of that at this time. So now with hindsight, looking back at these different movies that I liked and I still like, and thinking about different action scenes and fight scenes, the way I was really focusing on at that time, it seemed that the story was very surface level, very there's just a lot of fluff, just all about the action, and not so much about the story. And I've changed right now. When I write stuff, that's changed. I still really want to do some really cool over the top action scenes, and maybe I'm still just wanting to really focus on those things in my stories, but I'm wanting to make it a deeper story, more of a compelling story, focus on the characters more. With the character in this story, I just didn't really focus on them like I wanted to when I went back and read the story. And it's too bad, because that's what I enjoy about a lot of the stories that I have read and I continue to read and I watch. The story itself, the overall story, and the characters in it, that's what I would like to grow in and be better at writing. And I hope that my writing going forward can reflect that better than what I have done. But coming back to this story, I wanted to create some cool gadgets, and because it was a sci-fi story, I wanted to have some cool weapons, some cool tools that my character used. So I created this. I thought of just a cool looking futuristic compound bow. One of the ends, trying to think of different arrows that they use, and one of them I called it like a shrapnel arrow. The end of it just bursts into different pieces of metal. And the guy also carried 2 different knives, and one was a knife that I tried to think of something really ridiculous. It was made out of material from like the center of the core of the earth, some sort of metal or alloy, something like that could heat up to 100 Kelvin, something like freaking crazy. And the other one was this knife that there's a point at the top and a point at the bottom, and I don't know if I can. And between the 2 points, there like a energy wave would go back and forth, and I think I said something in the story about it. Something with like breaking molecules apart, I think. But the crux of the story is that Miles, he's the main character. He's a ranger, scout, some sort of hunter kind of thing, monster hunter, and he goes to different cities and hunts down these monsters because they've infested the earth, and to try to slowly get rid of all these different monsters on the earth. And I couldn't think of a good name of what to call him. Hunter or ranger or scout, predator. I don't know. Like, all these names either were super generic, just didn't sound right. So I never really landed on something. I think in the story I said like it was part of the Predator program, but I don't know. I couldn't think of a name I really wanted to land on at the time. Miles goes to Chicago, and he's there killing some monsters, and he runs across this boy that was thrown through a wormhole from one of the cities, and because he was thrown out of the wormhole because this boy's dad, had found out something. I don't remember what he had found out bad going on, and he brought it to like the head, like the mayor. I think for the mayor I called him the Switch. I think that was the name. So I kind of was able to think of a cool sort of different name anyway of this mayor of the city. But the dad had found out something about something bad going on, brought it to the mayor of the Switch, and the mayor was actually behind it, and the mayor didn't want the dad to expose this to the rest of the city, so he killed the dad and threw the boy through this wormhole, and the boy wandered up here, and Miles saves the boy, and that's where the story actually ends, because I never finished the story. But one other direction that I'm just remembering now as I'm recording this was, instead of him being this hunter kind of thing that goes to these cities and takes out these monsters, he was this genetically altered experiment, but he was put in like cryogenic sleep and put in this underwater prison, and this underwater prison like only comes up to the surface every, I don't know, 2 years, 5 years. I don't remember what I thought of at the time, but there's this group of rebels that come right when it comes to the surface, and they infiltrate it, and they're there to get him because their one of their main leaders told them to come and get him out, and they come get him out. Big fight ensues in this underwater prison, and as they're leaving the underwater prison, there's this huge other mutated monster, mutated squid or octopus or something that starts attacking their ship, and he's this genetic altered experiment, and he's able to go and destroy this and kill this big sea monster thing all by himself, and just this really powerful kind of thing, and so that was another, I'm just remembering now, that was one of the other kind of starts I guess I tried to think of with this story. I've got to try to find all the different stuff I've written and compile it in one place, because I've not been able to find a lot of the other stories that I've been wanting to post to this blog, because there are actually one or two other stories I did actually finish, but I haven't been able to find them. But yeah, that's kind of a overall quick summary of this this story. I don't have a name for it. I just put first sci-fi story down, but that's kind of the just a quick summary of this story. But let me know what you think of these ideas. I would love to hear what you think of these ideas down in the comments. Tell me if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Just it's totally okay. Just tell me what you think about it. I'm probably not going to revisit this story. It's not something that, with where I'm at with writing, that I want to kind of come back to and relive this idea. But also, if you like these videos, please leave a like, and I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. The next video I'm doing is a video of the first story that I've written in a while, that I've actually finished, and it's kind of more the direction that I want to go with stories, and so that's going to be the next video, and it'll be on the blog post too. So yeah, hopefully you like that one as well. You like that one. But yeah, leave me a comment, and thank you so much for tuning into this video.